Just start off by introducing yourself.
Yeah, I'm Melissa Menago, and I am in the band June Decided.
And I know you actually wrote the band's bio on Facebook, so you kind of want to just tell us about that definitely interesting story about how the band formed.
Sure. Well, me and Chris, our other guitar player, met in college. We went to Drexel studying music industry tech, and after we graduated, we found ourselves in pretty bad economy. So for fun, we kind of started a band since we had done a lot of work together in college. And for fun, we put an ad out on Craigslist for a drummer at the suggestion of our old bass player, who was also gone to school with us. And we weren't really expecting any responses, but we actually got one that we found interesting, and it was Keith, who turned out to be our drummer. And it's kind of been going ever since. Then we finally got a new bass player. Our first bass player left on good terms. He's getting married, so it's all good. So our new bass player also went to Drexel. So
It's kind of funny because I'm visiting Drexel in about 2 weeks for their music business program.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what we were like. It's split. It's like music industry, and then one side's business and one side's tech. And me and Chris were on the tech side, but Lenny was actually he was entertainment and arts management, so it was kind of like the music business side.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Awesome, yeah, it was a great program, really good program.
I'll keep that in mind, even though everyone tells me that that area is kind of dangerous and whatnot.
It's totally dangerous, but I mean, if that's the feel your calling is, you know what I mean? Definitely go for it.
Okay, getting back on track, you want to just tell us what about your music separates you guys from everyone else out there?
I definitely feel like we're doing our own thing. I mean, we're definitely staying true to rock. We're kind of like Jimmy Eat World, a little bit like the lighter stuff from Thrice. We like a lot of post-rock, like Explosions in the Sky. I feel like what's kind of separating us right now is that we're very, like, bare minimum. There's a lot of bands that are kind of going for, like, the more synthy sound, and, like, they've got, like, 7 players on stage, and, like, we're just a 4-piece, and we don't play the tracks, and pretty much on the record is what you get live. So we're really keeping it simple in a day where not a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell us about the album since it's coming out soon. What would you say is the vibe you're going for on it?
The vibe for the album, well, the album's called Backbone.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one of the big vibes of this album is bold. We made a lot of bold choices as far as songwriting and production on this album. So there's definitely some bold statements we make. And another vibe from the album, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of minimal production to the record. A lot of it's pretty bare bones. And that's probably, those are the 2 vibes I can give you on the record.
And since you guys have all this studying behind you, are you really hands-on with the production and everything?
Hands off?
No, hands-on, yeah.
Oh yeah, hands-on. Yeah, we're pretty hands-on. Like, it's, our producer actually also went to Drexel. He was in class with us, and he's awesome. His name's Alec Henninger, and he works at Soundline Studios. So we're pretty hands-on. I mean, Alec does a lot. What Alec does is really untouchable. Like, we could never do what Alec does. But we do understand what's going on in the studio a lot since we, studied it. Right. So that's kind of cool. That's why I like the studio, is like my favorite part of being in a band.
Do you prefer the recording and being in the studio over performing, or are they just 2 different aspects?
I always prefer recording and writing and producing. Those are always going to be my favorite. But I've come around to the live show. I think, like, at first, I wasn't expecting the band to really go that far. It was just for fun during the job hunt. So when it got very serious and we had to play a lot of shows and shoot music videos, I was, like, very, like, not ready for it. I was like, whoa, because, like, I went to school to be behind the scenes, and, like, somehow I ended up in front of it. So it took me a while to come around to that. But now I like it. I kind of miss playing live. We're getting back into playing live after the studio, so I'm excited.
I mean, you're playing Warp, so you can't complain about that.
No, except it's gonna be like 100 degrees. But yeah, we can't complain, definitely. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, I'm sure since you're playing on the monster stage, they'll hook you up with some free monster.
Yeah. Oh, we're playing on the Rainbow stage. But Monster's kind of like sponsored throughout the whole tour, so I'm sure we'll have.
Is there anyone on the lineup you're looking forward to seeing during that week?
I know Yellow Card's playing. I forget what stage they're playing on, but Yellow Card is like our drummer's favorite band. Like LP, the drummer of Yellow Card, is like a huge influence for Keith, our drummer. So we're excited to see them, especially for Keith, because like his hero. Pretty cool.
Now, have you been to Warp before? Like growing up and everything, did you attend?
No, I've never been to Warped Tour. I went last year because we played one date on it last year, and that was my first Warped Tour.
Bring suntan lotion. That's like number one on the list.
Yeah, I put like, I'm really, really pale too, so I brought like 80 and then put another 60 on top of that and applied it every hour and drank so much water. Yeah, we're ready. We're prepared.
Did you guys start making your set for Warped yet, or are you busy promoting the album?
Yeah, we're practicing. We're going through a couple different set list lineups for Warped. We're definitely trying to figure out what songs are the best to play. We've been working that into our practice a lot.
And sometimes bands try to add really interesting aspects to their set, or are you guys just gonna keep it simple with your set?
With our set on Warped, keeping it simple. How so?
Well, sometimes you have these guys come in like they put themselves in an inflatable ball and jump across the crowd.
No, that's definitely not us. Someone once called us like a no gimmicks band, and that's like kind of definitely who we are. Not that inflatable balls with people in them aren't cool. Those are cool. I don't really think we have the resources to do that yet. I think we have some tricks up our sleeve, but more so focused on the music as opposed to like other props.
I remember last year, the band of Mice and Men had like those wacky inflatable things taking up the entire stage.
Oh wow, crazy.
And I know you guys just opened up for the Cab, so what was that like?
That was cool. They were really nice. They were probably one of like the nicest bigger bands that we've opened for. They're very sweet. It was fun. We got some good fans out of that show. It was a good time. Really nice weather. It was an outside show. It was beautiful.
Could you see yourself doing more things with the band in the future?
With the Cab?
Yeah.
They're not really our style of music at all. So on a bill, I don't really think we'd fit together, but I do think, I wouldn't mind playing with them again. I thought they're really awesome.
13-year-old fangirls aren't your speed.
Well, we're kind of like more all ages things, and they, there are definitely 13-year-old girl fans of us, but we also have, I feel like we have a little bit of a broader reach. I feel like, we would fit on a bill together, but, I don't think we'd fit well enough to, tour together. But, I think, like I said, I really liked them, and I thought they were really talented, nice guys, and, their fans did like us, so that was cool. We just have, a pretty broad reach of a fan base.
And out of that entire fan base and the encounters you've had, what would you say is the one that stands out most in your mind, either as really interesting or just meant a lot to you?
You mean an encounter with a fan?
Yeah, fan encounter.
I remember being really little and watching big bands reach out into the crowd and touch the front row of people's hands, and we recently opened for Falling in Reverse. And it was one of those things where we were actually expecting it was a pretty heavy show, and we're rock, but we're not heavy because it was also Oh Sleeper and Kick the Fourth Play, Oh Sleeper, Falling in Reverse, and then us. So we were definitely the lightest band on that bill. So we were expecting to get booed off the stage, but they actually loved us. We were really surprised. And at the end of the set, we had people reaching out for us after for guitar picks and drum sticks. That was really cool. Never thought I would be in that position, reaching out to fans. That was really cool.
It's definitely interesting that you guys have the ability to perform with the cab fans and then go on stage and perform Falling in Reverse, is basically the complete opposite of the cab.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, we do have a really broad reach, and I think that's going to be even more so on this album. People will definitely see. There's a lot of variety on the album. There's some heavier stuff. There's some not so heavier stuff. But it works as an album. Like, it's tied in together. I feel like we did that pretty well. That's kind of our band in a nutshell.
And out of all those songs, which would you say is the one you're most proud of?
Out of the 10 new songs, which one am I the most proud of? I'm most proud of a few of them for different reasons. There's a song called... Are we allowed to release the song titles yet? Sure? Are you giving me a story, or you're just telling me to go for it? Chris is sitting next to me. I don't know. The last song on the record is one of my favorites. I'm probably the most proud of it. I guess I can say I'm the most proud of that one. It's the last song on the record is always tough because it's got to be, epic and crazy enough to end your record on, but it can't be too much of a drag because then you don't want to leave people off on like a low note. I feel like we did a really good balance of pumped up meets, a little more epic, and then there's a little surprise at the end.
And post-Warped, what do you guys have in store?
I'm working on some touring right now. It's not official. It's not released yet, but we are working on it. We should be touring. The way it's looking, we'll be touring after Warped. So yeah, just probably a lot of touring.
And to finish things off, you want to just tell everyone why they should check out your music?
If you still believe in rock music. Why you should check us out? I think we put a lot of work into our songs. We put a lot of work into our live show, and the four of us are all pretty educated musicians. So I think that's a recipe for a band you should check out.